Welcome to Fine Fires YouTube. Today we're going to be talking about Halloween Horror Nights behind the scenes with John Murdy himself over Monstruos 2 and Dead Expsoure. What a day it has been. Today's my birthday. I couldn't have asked for a better start to my birthday than a Halloween Horror Night walkthrough with John Murdy himself, the legend, the king, John Murdy. Today, we got a chance to do a behind-the-scenes walkthrough with John Murdy for Monstruos 2 on the upper lot, and we had a chance to do Dead Expsoure Death Valley at the lower lot. These are the two original houses, kind of like we have an idea of what's happening, but at the same time, it's an original storyline, so it's like, where are they trying to take these things? What kind of imagery and storyline are we going to see come to life throughout these things? In today's video, I'm going to go over a lot of the photos, and at the same time, I'm going to try to bring some of the voice recording that I was able to get while I was doing the walkthrough with John Murdy. So John Murdy himself will be talking to everybody here on today's video. So I'm going to mix it in with a little bit of both and give my opinions on what I think. Most importantly, this is all of this is spoilers. I can't emphasize that enough. So at this point in time, you don't want to get spoiled. It's okay. You could kindly go watch another video. Don't spoil it. But if you are somebody who's like, spoil me, give it to me, baby. What's inside these mazes? Well, this is the video for you because we're going to be seeing pretty much the full walkthroughs. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff missing. You know, scare actors, music, lighting. There's a lot missing. And I'll go over a lot of that stuff once I get through it. But this was a badass day. So from this point on, spoilers! A lot of spoilers! Let's go! Let's go! All right, everybody. The first thing that happened today is we got to meet John Murdy at the facade of Monstruos 2. He did go over some very important stuff, which is like the introduction of what we're going to be seeing, the characters, which is El Charro, El Cadejo, and El Cucuy. Those are the three monsters you're going to be seeing in Monstruos 2. The first thing that you do, or the first thing that you're seeing when you walk in, which was really cool to finally walk in this facade. I've looked at it so many times over all our trips, is this. This is what you're looking at. You're like, what? What is going on here? Once you keep walking a little bit further, El Charro. El Charro is going to be the first monster that you're going to be encountering in this maze. El Charro is like, he has like a pot of gold. I want to say a pot of gold, but he has a bag of gold in his hand. And John Murdy himself, goes a little deeper of what El Charro is about. And he has his horse. So in this room, this will be essentially the first room where you're going to encounter Scare Actor. And at the same time, there's going to be a puppet on the right-hand side, which I'll go into in the next slide. But this scene was really cool. Just to kind of give a wider angle inside there.
This is El Charro's horse, so I'll go a little bit into the El Charro story here. So, like lots of Latin American myths and legends, they started off as stories that were orally handed down. And in some cases, a century could go by before anybody actually wrote the story down. And what I'm getting at is there's multiple versions of all of these stories, depending on what part of the country you're from, who told it to you. But there's one I came across that I rather liked that we used as inspiration for this scene. And that is, there's this poor miner named Juan in some versions of the story, Jose in other versions of the story, and that's this gentleman with his head down on the table. He has a large family and wife and kids he has to support, but one night after work, instead of going home to his wife and kids, he decides to go to the cantina with his buddies from the mine, and they have a drink, and then they have another drink, and then they have another drink, and then they have another drink. And he starts getting loud and boisterous, and his friends kind of slowly, whenever that happens in a bar, people tend to like, okay, we're leaving now. Everybody kind of leaves till he's all by himself. And at one point, he shouts out in the middle of this empty cantina, "Life is so unfair. Why wasn't I born wealthy and powerful?" And at that moment, in through the door comes a man in a dark suit who sits down next to him and says, "I can make your dreams come true. riches beyond measure. And so the next morning, the man wakes up, and in his barn are all these sacks of gold. And so he buys, the finest clothing, and he buys he goes out to eat at the nicest restaurants, and he has girlfriends in every town, and he just, he lives the life of pleasure and fritters away the money. Towards the end of his life, he remembers that deal he made, and he realizes he made a deal with the devil. So he tries to escape and outrun the devil. So he gets on his horse, he grabs however much gold he can carry, which is just a sack of gold coins, and he tries to outrun the devil, but the devil catches up with him. The devil says, ha ha ha, well, you're going to hell, and your horse is too. So that's why the horse is in here. That's his horse. That's a puppeted effect that pops out when you come in. And he says, but I'm going to make you a deal. Every so often I'll let you out of hell, and you can roam the earth at night. If you can get somebody to accept that bag of gold, they'll take your place in hell. So the legend of El Charro grows up through that version of the story, where he tends to be riding his horse outside villages, usually at like a crossroads outside of town, and if you see him, he's going to try to offer you his bag of gold. So that's what our performers who are playing El Charro are doing in every one of these.
There's going to be a scare actor that comes out of this, which is El Charro, and on the right side, because El Charro has his horse, this is me taking a picture with it. But look at this. This is going to be a puppet that will be, pushed out through the window. And this is El Charro's horse, and get a better visual at it. Look at that. Terrifying. Had a chance to get really close to it and just oh. Yeah, it's kind of crazy, man. There's like a worm right there in his mouth. This is going to be a really, really cool scene. I did have a chance also to ask John Murdy about are they going to all be talking in Spanish, English? Is it a mix? It's going to be a mix. So we're going to have a lot of stuff said in Spanish and a lot of stuff said in English throughout the maze, which I think that's great. I'm going to try to follow the sequences of how all this will work. This was a cool room. So after we go through that bar looking scene, we're going to go through here where he stashes all his coins and stuff. So these coins that you're seeing on the wall, they're all gold. And he did say that some of these do have lighting effects to them. So they'll be kind of flickering as you're walking through here. So that's going to be a cool scene to kind of just transition us. And then this cave kind of thing. I was a little what is going on in here? This scene, he did say it's going to be lit kind of throughout the walls and the stones and stuff like that. Pretty crazy. A lot of stuff is not done, so I feel like this stuff will make more sense as time goes on, and we finally get to do the maze. But after we do El Charro, the next one we're going to be introduced to is El Cadejo. For the El Cadejo, I was wondering how that was going to work out. Well, it's very terrifying what El Cadejo is going to be looking like. He actually showed us one of the puppets that are going to be, pushed out throughout the maze and scare people. I actually got a close look at this thing. Look at that. Jeez, Louis. Imagine with the lighting, the trigger effect of noise and stuff. Look at the amount of detail is just insane that they do. I'm just so astonished at the props that they do and the amount of props that they do. We're only talking one maze. There's freaking 8 of these things in a terror tram. But that's going to be cool. That's your first introduction to El Cadejo. As we keep walking through, hold on. I want to follow the sequence. There we go. Is that right? Yeah. We're going to keep walking through, and we're going to get to this outdoor scene. And at this point in time, it's when it's going to be El Cucuy. I was wondering how they were going to bring to life El Cucuy and all this. There is going to be a scare actor that's going to get everybody right here on the right-hand side. But the challenge when they do a maze in the Parisian courtyard is you kind of are walking up, and then it kind of flattens out. And then obviously you exit in a Parisian courtyard. But that's what he was telling us. It's always a challenge to create a story to get you to this point, which is an outdoor scene, and then to progress the story. Just with the groundwork that's in there. I did have a chance to get a close up of El Cucuy at the very top. They finally put him up there. he wasn't always up there, I guess, or he wasn't always up there. He wasn't up there until today. Today was like the first day that he was just stationed there. Look how terrifying this thing is. Oh my Lanta. El Cucuy. He said it also in some other areas. It's called El Coco. I was like, all right. So now that we're kind of like transitioning into El Cucuy storyline, once you walk in, this is what you're going to be seeing. I'm really curious if it'll just be El Cucuy scare actors, or there's going to be kind of like more Dia de los Muertos looking scare actors. It's going to be very interesting how all of this comes to life, and especially with the music that's going to be going on. Look at these details. Like he was like pushing on this like this pan dulce right here. It's just like foam, but it looks real. It looks like you just take a bite out of it, but do not even touch any of this. Just look at it. So as we're going through the scenes, we're gonna get to this point, and this is gonna be one of the points that we really start getting terrified by El Cucuy. There's gonna be a kid just like looking obviously at this bag of El Cucuy, and the kid is scared. He said he's going to have like an animation of like shaking, and then El Cucuy hands will be popping out down here under the bed. So they're going to come out from under the bed. So talk about terrifying right there. That is scary as hell, man. Oh, it's going to be crazy to see. I'm excited. I never had a chance to do El Cucuy in the past. But I feel like this is going to be a lot of fun. Once we get through that scene, we're going to be going into this cave of El Cucuy. It's really cool to see the details that are on this like entrance. You see a lot of toys all throughout. Very terrifying looking toys. And he also said that these pumpkins that are going to be throughout this portion of the maze, they're going to be lit up pumpkins. And I do have a picture. We're going to be walking through some skulls and toys hanging through it. This scene was really cool to see in person. I was just like, damn, man, I don't even know what I'm looking at this point. But everything was really like old looking, very dated. As you can see, the toys that we'll show right now. And then these are more of the pumpkins that I was talking about. They're going to be all lit up. So each one of these pumpkins will have like a LED light. So it's going to be really cool once it's darker and, we have the show lights and settings going through. But all these toys, they're just being saved in this cave. Let me keep going. Let me see. That's it for that. I have to like try to figure out all my posts. Let me see. Hold on. I'll try to find it. Man, I try to like keep them all in one thing, like one thread, but it just kind of broke up. All right, so as we keep walking through that scene, we're gonna be taking. Take it out. There we go. Right here. This is where we left off. We're gonna walk into this version of El Cucuy. So another big-headed monster. Very similar to what we saw last year. I think it was El Cibon. We also had La Llorona kind of in the same position. This thing is massive. Obviously, you can see by the size of this picture, very big. And what was really cool, well, it's really terrifying, honestly. El Cucuy eats kids. That's like his whole ordeal. And as you can see, once we zoom in a little bit more, they're in there. And one crazy story he told us about the person that created this, John was like, where'd you get these like where'd you get these like faces to scout these things or create these molds in this that went inside the mouth of El Cucuy? Well, it's actually the designer. The designer did his kids to put in there. So kind of cool Easter egg, right? As a parent, you're like, I have kids to put in there. I'm just gonna use my own kids' faces. But that's a cool Easter egg. Very Horror Nights right there, obviously. To end all of this, it is gonna end with El Muerte again. So this time, death. That's his name, El Muerte. He's the one that brings us into the maze at the very beginning, and at the same time, he's the one that ends the maze. And then at that point in time, it's gonna take us into luchadores monstruosos. Which, John did have a chance to give us more input on that, and that was really cool to hear. They are going to be wrestling and grappling, and they're going to have a lot of character and flavor to them. And there's like two heroes out of all these luchadores, and they resemble a lot of Universal monsters. So I don't know which ones are going to be like the good guys, bad guys kind of scenario. Who's the baby, the heel, baby face? I don't know. We'll see how all that plays out. But walking out of Monstruos 2, I was very impressed. I loved everything I saw. This was an incredible walkthrough to do for behind the scenes. I wasn't prepared for some of the scenes that we did. But it looked incredible. John Murdy did a great job with the representation going on in this maze. Being Latin America, I think this is just cool, very, very cool. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Give me a second. Let me see. I want to make sure we went through okay. Yeah, we went through all the walkthroughs. Okay. Just wanted to make sure. I don't want to miss anything. Monstruos 2 is going to be an incredible walkthrough, and I'm very, very excited. This is going to be a maze that I feel like is going to win a lot of people over, and it's going to be a fan favorite. I really believe that. Monstruos 2 won everybody over last year, too. Or Monstruos 1, I mean. Won everybody over. So to see the progression of this maze to Monstro 2 now, I think it's going to be really cool. And if it's a success, John's already said it himself, he would like to see Monstros 3. So we could get a trilogy. I don't even know where the hell he's trying to take it after this one, but he said it too before in Midsummer Scream that Monstros 2 is just kind of looking to a different angle or a different area of this same graveyard. So Monstros 1 was like this side of the graveyard. Now we turned the camera to this side of the graveyard, which is Monstros 2. So if this is a success, he's going to turn the camera a little bit further to a different side of the graveyard, and we'll get Monstros 3, a trilogy. I'm all here for it. I freaking love it. So I would love to hear what you guys got to say about Monstros 2. All right, we're going to go on to the next one. This is one of the most anticipated houses for me. I was kind of like, I didn't know where they were going to take things. Hopefully this one's all in one Twitter thread. There's not a lot to be known about Dead Exposure Death Valley, but John Murdy gave us lots of details, really went in depth of what's happening, what we're looking at, and it was awesome. We did get an unveiling, and shout out to the team members that showed us. It's been covered up, but they finally took the cover off for us. I feel like we're the first ones to see it. There's going to be a body just hanging out right in front of this room. And, they're still working right now as we speak on everything. There was a lot of workers throughout a lot of this stuff because they got to do the finishing touches for next week. We're less than 10 days now. But from the outside facade, there is going to be a scare actor, kind of building up the story of we just crashed. Do not go in there. It's deadly. You know what I mean? There's some toxic stuff going on. Yeah. As you could see, stuff went down. This van crashed into the wall of this building. And right here, active contamination, health risk, watch out. Oh, man. So we finally got a chance to go through. And on the other side, security station check-in is the first thing we walk into. But I finally got to be on the other side. We've been looking at this van. We were trying to figure out, how are they going to make it work? And, we finally got the other side of water, the back side of water right here. So this was cool. And there's actually a person that was driving the van. Obviously, he didn't make it. And before I go any further, I do want to say this walkthrough is going to look very different when we all get to go through it next week. He was saying, the smaller detail and then I don't even know what to call it. The blooding of this maze is all going to happen at the end. It's the final step because it's extremely messy and they just want everything done before they add blood. And so there's a lot of radioactive blood and crazy stuff like that, but like the show blood and all that stuff that's going to be going on the grounds, the walls, and detail, that hasn't been added. So that's why he was saying this is like a very clean walkthrough, because they just haven't done that yet. So we had a chance. This is the first thing you look at. I don't know if this is going to come to life when it kicks off, but this is like a security, like a double-sided window. He didn't give us any hint if there was going to be an actor there or not. But once you walk through that, here we got Death Valley, Proving Grounds, security check-in. One thing too, he told us about this like army base or just this like military base is that it's very just like sleek, minimalistic, because that's in the research and everything he did for this. This is how they looked. So he was trying to really stick to the source material of this stuff. But the first thing we're going to walk into in the research facility, as you can see right there, primate research facility. And I was like, whoa, because just recently we got a couple photos of like concept art where they're trying to take things, and I could have sworn, I was like, is that like a monk, like a ape or a monkey zombie thing? What? I thought it was just humans. No. Primate research facility. As I go on to the next slide, you'll see what I'm talking about. So we walk through this room, and where is that post? I gotta find these posts. Hold on, everybody. Is it not here? I gotta find this thread. There's so many. Man, it's like they got like out of order. Where'd it go? Oh my gosh. I'm trying to stay on story as much as possible, as it'll feel like when you go through the maze. Let me just back out. Let me back out. We're in the primate set. Oh, there it is. There it is. I guess it just, okay, it's here now. So we're going to walk into this room, and this is where we see primates that were being worked on. Not obviously, none of this is clean. This is all some just very bad stuff that was happening at this military research facility. And here we get kind of like a more close-up look. In this room, he did say it's going to be very loud and frantic. And you got to remember, this is dead exposure. There's going to be a lot of like flashing, strobe lights, alarm systems going off. Very loud maze. I guess I should say this too before I keep going. In this dead exposure maze, he did confirm that there's going to be like a 80s synth kind of music. Like the tone is going to be 80s synth. And it's going to be an all original score. I'm very excited to hear that and how it's going to be implemented in here. So that's going to be cool to hear this like music being played while we're looking at all these very graphic scenes of craziness going on in this research facility. Look at these monkeys. Oh man. Got wires in the brain. Sheesh. This one will be an animated one. I did ask if the other one's going to be animated. No, it's just this one in this room. Look how scary that is. Oh, my Lanta. This is just going to be terrifying to walk through. All right, so once we get through the monkey scene, did I lose? No. Okay, once we get through the monkey scene, the next scene is, man, I'm over here like in the finale. I'm pretty sure it's this scene. The monkey scene, the hallways. I'm trying to remember. Let me click here. All right, yeah. So once we get through that, yes. Okay, I remember now. So once you get through that, you're going to be introduced to this scene. This guy just got destroyed by a primate toxic zombie that was obviously being worked on. A huge one, too. Obviously, here we got another monkey that was being worked on. Lots of crazy scenes here. But this area, We're going to just see like one of the zombies. And it's actually one of the concept arts that we saw. We saw a concept art of this that was released on one of the Universal blogs recently. So it's gonna be an intense scene. It's very tight too when you're walking through here. So it's gonna be up close and personal. I had a chance to like really peek in there. You know, this is like my one chance to like really look and appreciate all these details that we're seeing in this maze. So we're in the primate section. As we keep going from the primate section, I don't know if I had a chance to take a picture of the hallway. Yeah, here it is. Here it is. So there's this hallway. He told us that a body is just going to be dragged. That's like the scene that they're building. A body's going to be dragged through. And this is all clean looking, but he said it's going to be all bloody once we finally walk through it. And here we're going to have... we're going to have a scare actor right before this scene, but this one is going to be like a window banging kind of scene. And he said when they were testing that it was like scaring the hell out of everybody. And we're going to be introduced to like humans in hazmat suits in the very beginning. And then it'll be like primates. And then it goes back to humans. So that's kind of the way Dead Exposure is playing out. Is humans in hazmat suits. Then primates will be the scare predominantly. And then it'll be in a human zombies and just wildness to end it all. You know, obviously this is a testing facility and just crazy. I was trying to make out, what am I looking at here? What? Nobody had a chance to ask him what was this. But obviously there's some testing going on and it ain't good. Ain't nothing good happening in here. As we kept going, it led us into, where'd it go? It led us into this scene right here. And this is the body that was being dragged on the bottom. So we're going to see this like bloody trail through. And on the left side of this like building, or not this building, this room, we have this like first iteration of the zombies that we're going to be seeing. And he said that the actors are going to be dressed like that. That's actually one of like their face prosthetics. That is it. So the monsters that'll be scaring us at this point in time, that's what they're going to be looking like. This one's just obviously like a prop, but to the right of it, there's another door, and that one will be a scare actor that comes through. Kind of tried to take a picture of it. It's really dark in some of these things, in these scenes, so I was doing the best I could. But yeah, just lots of testing facility going on. It's just wild. So as we keep walking through, this is going to be a room that has like just people locked up that are obviously being tested on or researched on. There's going to be actors, he said, in every room. So it's going to be like a room of like 3 just banger, bam, bam, bam. And I remember I told John, I was like, what the heck? This room's going to be crazy. That's like all I kept thinking was just like, wow, it is scare actor everywhere. So a lot of scare actor throughout every bit of this maze. And before I go any further, you know, one thing I wanted to shout out, 0 black walls, nothing. You know, that was a complaint big time for Horror Nights a while back. Nothing. What an incredible year we are going to have, everybody. Incredible year. No black walls. I just want to throw that out there. I don't know, this scene just really reminded me of that. So once we finally get through, we're going to get into like the ice scene. You know, this ice scene was already rumored very heavily. And he talked about it too briefly before. So we're going to finally go into like a frozen area. I didn't have a chance to ask, like, are we really going to feel cold while we're in this? You know, that's going to feel nice. It's been pretty hot out here. But once we go in this ice scene, we're going to be walking through all these like hanging frozen zombies. And these things are intense when you're actually looking at them. And in this scene, I think it was like 5 of these hanging things. And there's going to be an actor from the left side, actor from the right side. So you're going to be pinned in by these monsters that are going to be scaring us. So double scare action going on here in this scene. Here's just kind of like a better look at it all. Terrifying. This is just terrifying. It's so scary looking. All I kept thinking was like, how am I going to walk through all this? like with the lights, with the the show lights on, the music going. It's gonna be scary. I had a chance to get a closer look too. Here are like the other versions of these zombies that are hanging, and these are going to be what are scaring us. One of the actors will be looking like this in this area. Got a closer look here. Look at that. Frozen zombie brains right here. Oh my goodness, great, dude. Dead Exposure, all I kept thinking was like, this is a banger. This is a home run. Everybody in the room, all the other content creators that were in here doing this behind the scenes walkthrough, everybody felt it. It was like this common feeling of like, holy smokeroonies. This is a wild ass mate, and we haven't even gone into the ending. The ending is honestly the craziest part out of all of this. Let me keep going. So once we go out through all this, we're gonna finally get into the Quinsa Hut. And a long time ago, John Murdy was talking about his research in Quinsa Hut, and it all makes sense now. He tweeted that out a long time ago. Everybody was like trying to make sense. What Quinsa Hut? Where is he gonna put a Quinsa Hut? Well, this is it. This is it. He did say that this is going to be like a fire scene. So a lot of projection mapping, kind of fire sounds. Everything's just broke. Hell's broken loose. These tubes at the bottom are going to be like fired up. And then I had a picture of the Quinsa Hut here. It was kind of hard to take a picture of this because it's so massive. All I kept thinking, and I told John himself, I was like, I don't feel like I'm in a maze. I feel like I'm in a soundstage, dude. This whole time how'd you fit this in a maze? That's all I kept thinking. This structure is massive. The Quinsa Hut. I just like saying that word. Yeah, it's going to be so cool. Once you do go into the Quinsa Hut, there is a point where it feels like you're going underground. That's the whole point of it all. And the top ceiling, he's like, we worked so hard on that. There we go. Good, great picture. It's dark as heck in here. But obviously there's going to be a lot of strobe light action going on. Very luminescent, if I'm not mistaken, that's going to be going on, like the colors and stuff like that. And like I said earlier, it's like a fire scene. We're walking through fire, ice, fire, all sorts of elements and stuff going on. In here, I did feel air conditioned, so maybe it'll feel cold in there. But yeah, this scene, you don't even remember that you're in a tent. Like, there was no feeling of being in a tent anymore. Once you go through this, it's where I was just like mind blown by this final scene. Obviously we're seeing it with no actors, not done yet, but this is like the barrel scene. And at the very beginning, we saw that van and the guy who crashed and all that. Well, this is what they were here for. And obviously they weren't able to get these containers, but these containers is what they were traveling here to get. And this will all be obviously toxic, and they're like full of zombies. Look at the cool light. Some of these were, I don't know if this lighting will come to life once they go into show lighting, but we were doing all this in the daylight, so maybe the daylight was doing it. I had a chance to get like a close-up right here. Look at this. I almost feel like this could be a shirt. Like, put this on a shirt. Dead Exposure. Oh my Lanta. So they had these zombies in these buckets over here full of toxic. Oh man. So that's the first thing you're looking at, which I'm going to consider this the finale. This is where things just totally go haywire. And where are we at? Here we go. So I was trying to get, let me back up a little. Is this, hold on. I was trying to get like a full photo of it all. Yeah, this is the one. All right, so the final scene is going to look like this. So lots of, obviously, all these containers, every toxic stuff going everywhere. There are going to be a lot of scare actors here. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's a triple scare. Triple scare action going on. We got these dudes breaking out of some of these buckets. He did tell us that these zombies are superhuman zombies, and they're also the type of zombie where, like, if they were shot at, harmed, and hurt, they would go down, but then they would get back up and keep going. So these zombies are not something that you could just stop very easily. So that was really cool to hear that from him and kind of story tell us. Here we get introduced to like other type of zombies. Obviously, these are what they're going to look like when we walk through it. It looks to be like some of the military people that were in here. This scene, just all these buckets of toxic, radioactive craziness going on. It was impressive. When you were in here, it was just like, what is going on? Like your eyes go to so many different places. Like you can't absorb what you're seeing in this last scene, or second to last scene. It was really freaking cool. I was blown away. I was blown away. It's just like when you're there in person, it's just so freaking cool. Here are a couple different angles at it all. I was just trying to capture the size of this. These things are breaking out of the toxic stuff. Oh my gosh. Here's a close-up of this one. It's just crazy the details that they go all out for. And we're just talking one maze. All these details for one maze. I did have a chance to take a picture with this dude. I was like, this is my one chance to get this photo because I won't have lights on ever again. But this was so cool. Dead Expsoure, banger, man. Absolute banger. So freaking cool. So, final scene is right here. Different angle at all these radioactive zombies. But the final bang and to send you on your way is going to be this triple scare where they'll like push the monsters at you and obviously have like a trigger. So this is the final scare of Dead Expsoure, Death Valley. It's going to live up to the hype, everybody. Everything we heard from John, this walkthrough of lights on, and it's not complete, obviously. It was very, very cool. Everybody had the same feeling of like, this is the one. This is the maze that we want to go through opening day, baby. Everybody had that feeling. All the other content creators that I talked to, I was like, what'd you think? What'd you like more? What were you more excited out of all this? Dead Expsoure or Dead Expsoure Death Valley or Monstruos 2? Everybody was like, Dead Expsoure. Dead Expsoure is where it's at. And I'm going to agree. Dead Expsoure, this is going to be a banger. This is a Florida concept that now is coming our way. John Murdy did his take on it, so it's going to be really cool to see that originality come through and bring to life. I applaud John Murdy. I can't wait. I can't wait to go through this maze. Overall, I just want to say thank you, Universal Studios Hollywood. Thank you, Halloween Horror Nights Hollywood. You guys are amazing. This is going to be an epic year. Epic year. I do have a couple more things I want to end today's video on. And it was a lot of crazy stuff. John was talking about other mazes, so I'm going to let him say it, and so you could hear it for yourself. We're in for a banger year, everybody. Buy your tickets. Get your express if you're trying to skip the line, because it's going to be very, very worth it. Especially all the things we're hearing about the other mazes and these mazes especially. I've seen it for myself now. This is some epic stuff, everybody. I had a big smile the whole, literally, as soon as I went through the gates into Monstruos, I had a smile the whole time through that, the whole time through Dead Expsoure, and I was just like, I can't wait to do these mazes. This is what I came for, baby. Are you not entertained? That's all I kept thinking. So good. But that is it. We got lots of covers still to happen. We got Terror Tram still to finally finish up in the detail. We got the rest of the merch to finally come. All the people asking me, Texas Chainsaw and The Weekend and Eternal Blood. All that stuff's not here yet. Monstruos, that Expsoure. We don't got none of that. All the house merch and stuff like that is still missing. Hopefully it's here by this weekend. I have no idea. I don't know the schedule of merch. But a lot of the merch is already here. Kind of the more generic Halloween Horror Night stuff arrived. But go check it out. It's at City Walk. There's a tribute store at the Universal Studios store at City Walk. And then it's in the parks now too. So you get both now. And buy or not buy, but you can buy now too the vinyl of Slash in the park and outside the park. They had a lot in stock. I could imagine once the crowd start coming for Horror Night, that thing's going to sell out, but it's freaking cool. The Slash vinyl, super cool. Well, thank you guys for your time. I appreciate everybody for watching. And if you watch this far, fire up them likes. Let's hit the like button and post 5 fires in the comments. Thank you guys so much. We are firing it down.